break us down, searching for light when the world spins round. But in those cracks, the purpose is born, a new way to live when the old is torn. It's more than a story, it's the rise from the fall, a place where your purpose starts to call. With Dr. Stephenson, wisdom takes flight, turning your pain into hope, into light. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, the truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. From heartbreak to strength, the lessons unfold. It's about how we rise, not the stories we've told. Guests with their journeys, sharing their light. In every collision, there's power in sight. It's more than a talk, it's the wisdom we gain through every struggle, through every pain. With conversations that open the door to purpose, to power, to so much more. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, the truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. So come as you are, with your scars and fears. This is the place where the truth appears. Turn your trials into stepping stones. Find the strength to claim your throne. Collide with purpose, embrace the change. Every story's got a fire in its flame. Tune in, listen, find your way to take life's hardest hits and turn the page. In the podcast, truth is found. Collide with purpose, let love abound. A collision with purpose, your journey starts here. In every conversation, we'll wipe away fear. Find your purpose, let your life ignite. With Dr. Stephenson, you'll find your light.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome. Welcome to life-changing conversations to inspire actions, where conversations are not meant to simply inspire thought. They are meant to inspire transformation. Today, we are addressing something that quietly affects families, leaders, and entire communities, emotional and mental. Many people today are surviving but not healing, functioning but exhausted, successful on the outside while silently carrying unresolved pain. And here's the truth. Unaddressed trauma does not disappear. It travels. It travels through relationships, through families, through generations. But healing can travel too. And when healing begins in individuals, it spreads through communities. That is the conversation we're having today. My guest today is Dr. Lorraine J. Simmet, a licensed professional counselor and trauma-informed mental health leader whose work focuses on emotional healing, community resilience, and culturally responsive care. Through her clinical work, advocacy, and community outreach across the United States and the Caribbean, she continues to help individuals and families confront trauma and rebuild emotional strength. Dr. Lorraine J. Simmet, welcome. Welcome to Life-Changing Conversation to Inspire Actions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laxley, for having me here. Thank you.
Wow, it's so good to see you. You're looking radiant over there.
Oh my goodness, it's the end of the day, but thank you for that wonderful compliment.
You see, when you're walking in your purpose, when you're living your purpose, time, work does not even affect you. And that's what I'm seeing. You're glowing.
That's the truth. When you love what you do, they say you don't work a day. You just keep doing it.
And you're living that truth. All right. So how you doing? How you doing, Doc?
Honestly, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I continue to live and walk in my purpose. So I can say I'm truly best. I would say that a lot of people would um give anything to really walk in their purpose, find their purpose and walk and live in it. Get up every morning and just say, I'm just grateful for the day that, that is ahead of me. So I'm saying I don't say I'm doing fine. I don't say I'm doing great. I'm truly blessed.
Awesome. Awesome. And you look like you're very blessed, not just blessed. So that is awesome. So, Doc, we're going to have a conversation today. But before we get into our conversation, can you share just a little bit about yourself? Who is Dr. Lorraine?
So first and foremost, I always say I'm a daughter of the soil. I'm Jamaican born, Jamaican bred, and I always say when I left Jamaica, I didn't leave Jamaica behind. I is someone who truly appreciates who I am. Um, Humble beginnings, and still I'm humbled by my beginnings. If
Mm,
that makes sense. My parents, who didn't have an opportunity to have what we have, the freedom of being educated and the opportunity to be educated, knew what education, how important education was. And so they impressed upon me how important it is to go to school and pay attention and really come home with nothing less than an A. Nothing less than an A, because my mother would say if you fall from an A, then you slide to a B. But if you fall from a C, then that's it. And
mm,
so that was impressed upon me. Respect was impressed upon me as well. So I came from a home of love and
mm,
respect and honor. And so today I am the product of two very proud Jamaican parents who poured into me. And so I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother
mm,
of three adult girls, and I'm a grandmother of five beautiful grandchildren. I am a mental health professional. I'm an advocate. And when I say I'm an advocate, I truly mean every day I advocate for individuals who may have lost their support, their services. And that's one of the things that I expected to do in the role that I play. Even as a mental health professional, while I advocate for individuals that may be feeling out of sort for whatever reason, I'm expected to advocate for them while I provide for support. And then there's another aspect of who I am as a professional, that for folks who have lost their Medicaid benefits and their insurance and their homes and stuff like that, I'm also expected to do that as well. I'm also CEO. I am a person who wears many hats. Um, and the list goes on and on. I'm also an author. I have two books, Through the Tears I Rise, that speaks of as an individual who have been through a lot of different difficulties in life, but how I have turned my own lemons into lemonade.
mm.
And so I show the authentic side of me as a person, you know. And so a lot of my individuals who come to me in private practice appreciate the fact that I can be real. I am not someone who say I am a mental health trained professional who have not been there. I've been there, but I also show the lessons that I've learned. And for those people who will never come to my office, they can also appreciate it because they said, you know what, you're very real. You show that you are human, the human side of things. And so I write for the adults, and I also write for children with cognitive disabilities. So there's so many side of me. And I also teach as well. And then I'm the executive coach and the life coach for folks who are professionals and struggling in the workplace and in the office. If you're a CEO and you can't figure it out, I'm there. And if you are a college student as well. So there's so many sides of me. I've spent 30 years in the field. And so that gives me the opportunity to kind of work with anyone and everyone. I'm an expert in some areas, but not all areas, if that sums it up.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, so Doc, you just talk about some of the things that you do, and so you obviously have credentials. But when people see professional titles and accomplishments, they often assume the journey was purely academic. But behind most healers is a story, a moment when the work becomes deeply personal. Dr. Lorraine, what personal experiences made emotional healing non-negotiable for you?
Going back to my beginning days in Jamaica, when I had to support my own mom and my own personal experience in my own journey, when I felt my own personal pain, physical pain.
Mm.
So early years in all age school, my mom, I've never seen my mom without pain. And physical pain in terms of not being able to get out of bed, not being able to do her daily functioning. And I can remember simply as going to Crescent all age, and that was a shift school and a morning shift. And my dad would have already left for work because he was on the 2 to 10 shift. And simply thinking in my head, I'm going to leave my mom a glass of water and then go to school. And coming back and thinking, is my mom okay? Those physical thought in my head, and just being able to do for mom. And then as an adult, when I discovered that I had fibromyalgia, and anyone knowing what fibromyalgia is, and those physical pain, knowing that I cannot get out of bed. I couldn't get out of bed when the weather was so cold. It put me in a state of, I have to take care of myself. And those things, that was so, it put me in a sense, in a state of, this is something that it mattered. It mattered to me. And so those are things that are non-negotiable for me, that I have to take care of myself, just as though I had to take care of my mom. So those are things that for me as a mental health person, it's very important. It's high on the radar.
So those were defining moments.
Defining moments, absolutely.
When people hear the word trauma, they often think about extreme events. But many of the most damaging forms of trauma are the ones that become normalized within families and communities. Dr. Lorraine, what are the most common forms of trauma people dismiss or minimize, particularly in Caribbean and diaspora communities?
So a lot of times we normalize verbal abuse. Simply Sticks and stones may hurt our bones, but words may never hurt us.
Mhm.
We do it to our children. We do it to our partners, right? Um, the emotional abuse that we do to each other, the name calling, right? Um, and Caribbean people are very known for it. The bigot boy, you know.
Mhm.
Um, Even in our communities that with people with disabilities, here when you work with someone with disabilities, we do not say the disabled boy or um, the names. We do not put the name towards the disability, right? The crippled one. We even back in the days, it's mental retardation. All those names are changed. It's the individual with a disability, and so um, the notion is that we look at um, the abuse in a different ways: physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, financial abuse. Those things are looked at differently, and we take it for granted that not because you're not hitting a person, meaning that, well, I didn't abuse them. The words that comes out of her mouth hurts even more, and the abuse continue even after in the
Mhm.
words. Because remember, the words keeps playing. It's a record player even afterwards. There's an assessment that we do for those who, who are watching, even as clinician will understand, and those who go into therapy, the ACE assessment that says it will ask some simple question. Have you been hit, in your early years before the age of 18? And we're not saying that every child that's hit, it's the way and the things that you use to hit and the purpose. We're not saying that being disciplined is an abuse, but it's the thing you throw something across and
Mhm.
hit the child with the intention to hurt. So yes, we do minimize and the fact that not everything needs to be used. Not everything that a child does um, hand needs to be brought into play. Sometimes a conversation needs to be had instead of it. The child needs to be hit, and
Oh,
praises needs to be done more than a shout.
yes, yes. I'm listening to you talk, and going back into my childhood days and remembering
Mhm.
some of the names. And you said the big head boy. Imagine a child, a boy, a young boy hearing that over and over and over. That type of labeling, what it's doing to that child. That's serious stuff. And we, as responsible adults, living in the time that we're living in, we must pay attention to that. So I think that's important, and that's a very valid, argument that you're setting forth there. Names labeling how dangerous it can be in determining someone's outcome.
Even for children that are failing in school, the dunce child, the dunce girl, the dunce boy, the child may be having some issues learning, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the labeling it is a form of abuse, and then it brings the child to a place of shame
Yeah.
and guilt.
Beyond abusing to the trauma space. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So thanks for sharing that, Doc. Trauma has a way of revealing itself even when people try to hide it. Dr. Lorraine, how does unresolved trauma quietly show up in everyday life, in parenting, in leadership, in marriages, or even in professional success?
Mm. Anger, anger in a lot of way, inability to communicate, inability to form and keep relationships. So if I should break it out, you talk about leadership, you will see in even in the higher ups, you will also see CEOs abusing their own employees. I remember a situation where this young lady was in the position of a very good position, and the leader put in his hand in her face,
Mm.
and that's because of the inability to speak to the person
Mm.
without you using your hands. Okay, and so you see that, and then you also have, from a relationship perspective, you're getting upset but not being able to express your own emotions without using your hands. The hands should be at your side, and then you're using your voice, in a very appropriate manner and tone. Use your words to express yourself. So we find that marriages fail because of the unresolved trauma. We find that parenting also fail because of the unresolved trauma, because then the anger rises. Um, we talk about the anger iceberg, um,
Mm.
wherein the anger is just at the tip of the iceberg, and the bigger part of the iceberg, as we know, the most dangerous part, is that everything is that underneath that is causing the anger. And
Mm.
and if you can visualize that, what is down there? The unresolved trauma, right? What is it? The grief, maybe something else. All those things that is creating the anger at the top. So the anger is not the most dangerous thing, is the unresolved trauma. What
Mm.
happened? Someone that did something that you didn't take care of. And
Mm.
so it topples. Remember that anger iceberg toppled everything. You know?
Yeah, as I'm listening to you again, I'm thinking about people hurt other people, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And that unresolved trauma.
And then you see, no matter how it looks good on the outside, it becomes unsuccessful eventually, because it can only be it can only go for a little. The journey can only last for a short time. It cannot go on for a long time, and that's when we talk about relationship that doesn't last,
Mm.
because after a while everything just topples the every situation, or anything that is small is going to topple the
Mhm.
whole thing.
It's turning upside down.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, you know, there are individuals out there who believe that survival automatically equals healing, that you're surviving the trauma or the pain, that you're healed. So Doc, when someone says, I'm fine, I have survived worse, what deeper questions should they honestly ask themselves?
Are you truly healed? Have you done the work?
Mm.
Have you processed everything? Because it's a journey, you know. Um, and sometimes people just want to skim it.
Mm.
You just want to brush over it, you know, or they don't want to talk about it. I just want to put it to the side and just don't want to talk about it, because it takes work to talk about, and it takes being vulnerable to talk about it,
Mm.
trust to talk about it, finding someone, and it's not doing it with your friend. you know I'm not saying it's not good to talk to a friend, but it's doing it with someone who is able to take you through the journey,
Mm.
right? And acts and someone who's trained, in trauma, to take you through the journey. Ask the right question, or don't even ask the right question, but being able to take you there, right? um and being able to kind of like stand back and allow you to feel. But you have to be ready to want to feel too as well. But some folks don't want to, right? As you said, they will say, I'm okay. But then how do you know they're not okay is when everything starts to show up on the outside
Mm.
and everything starts to fall apart. When the children um, starts to fail in school, or there may be some behaviors that are going on the outside, and the children's life is showing it, right? The marriage is failing, the academics, the children classes are failing, because remember, when the trauma shows up in the parent's life, the marriage fail, the children's behavior in school fail, there's fights that they're getting into, because it starts to spread. It's spread, you
You
know.
know, having the humility and being open to be vulnerable is not the easiest thing.
No, it's not.
But through healing, real healing, you will have to expose yourself. Isn't that true?
Yeah, yes, yes. And it's not the easiest thing, because human nature, we tend to be very proud and private. Um, and even when even when things are breaking us, we don't want to be broken in front of someone else. But we're broken to the world sometimes. We're openly broken to the world. So imagine your children are broken in school. You know, they're doing the things that are saying, help me, help me. It's screaming, help me.
Mm.
And professionals can see it sometimes, and they're saying to parents, your child needs help. And they need to be helped, because they're screaming, their behaviors are saying, help me.
Mm.
But the parents are saying, we're fine, we're good, you know,
Mhm.
in nature.
So have they normalized the behavior because they're so used to it? That's what they see. Could that
It's
be?
it's almost like, it's not even like normalized. It's like, it's like normalized is one thing, but it's like, I don't want to be helped.
Mm.
A lot of times you're seeing things, and it's like, I don't want to be helped.
I'm talking about the parents watching the child.
Parents, yeah, I don't want to be helped. You're denying that you
Mm.
don't want to be helped.
So that's a good place time to transition to silence, because we're talking about silence in many respects, right? One of the greatest obstacles to emotional wellness is not access. Access is important, or the
Mhm.
lack of it, but it is silence. So, Doc, why is it that mental health is still such a difficult and often whispered conversation in many Black and Caribbean communities?
Shame and guilt,
Mhm.
learned shame and guilt, not actual shame and guilt, learned,
Mm.
and culturally learned shame and guilt.
Mm. Culturally learned shame and guilt. So, cultural expectations, and we move into that, often encourage endurance instead of healing. And you're talking about that there. What harm can phrases like be strong or just pray about it? What harm can those phrases cause when emotional wounds are left untreated?
I would say big and deep and wide harm, because um, praying is good, praying is helpful, but praying, after you pray, you got to get up and work.
Mm.
Praying without prayer without work is that faith. What faith without work is that. And after you pray, you got to have faith. You got to get up. You got to move, right? Um, so um, to tell someone pray about it is is like empty faith.
Hmm.
It's an empty gas tank, in other words. It's like you need a job and you're saying to the person, I'm just gonna come over and pray with you. We're gonna pray and sit and just have faith that we're gonna find a job. It's not gonna happen. Right? You're gonna have to have some actions behind it. And so what are the actions after you pray?
What are the actions after you pray? It's not just praying and hoping that the answers are going to come. There's got to be some work on your part. And as we're talking about faith and praying and prayers and so forth, those are central pillars in many families in our communities. So, Doc, how can churches, community leaders, and families responsibly support emotional healing without unintentionally replacing professional care?
So I would encourage our local churches to expose themselves to the knowledge of mental health, emotional wellness, information, what's out there, what's available. There's plenty of resources. And also we have trainings that are available, pastoral care counseling. There's so many certification courses that are available through local community colleges. You have different colleges that are available that can provide those and some are very affordable and they're virtual, so you don't have to leave the comfort of your home. Get these training that can help you to understand what mental health looks like. They don't replace mental health services, but what they do is they help you to be able to decipher what mental health situations look like in your congregation. When someone is going through those breakdowns, when it is time for you to refer out, for someone to seek counseling, when it's time for you to maybe call 911, when it's time for you to maybe call the different organization, whether it's children and family services that needs to be called in. And what it does, as we're saying, when it's time to pray and when it's time to call. And when it's time to seek services. Okay.
Knowing when is so important. Doc, we're going to take a on-screen break. I'm going to play a video. And after the video, I just want you to say something about it. Okay?
Okay.
A collision with purpose movement. Dr. Donna Thompson and Dr. Lorraine J. Smith. Every generation is shaped by voices that rise when others are silent. Voices of courage. Voices of wisdom. Voices that remind the world that leadership has many faces. This is her legacy. There's a story in every heart, a fire in every dream. Women rising through the dark, stronger than they seem. Through every challenge they stand tall, through every storm they rise, turning doubt into resolve with a vision in their eyes. Every word becomes a light, every step becomes a way, building bridges through the night toward a brighter day. When purpose calls and courage speaks, a voice can change the world we seek. This is her legacy. Voices shaping history, rising strong for all to see, lighting paths for every generation. This is her legacy. Where wisdom meets destiny, hope and strength for all to see, building futures through inspiration. From the mothers who guide to the leaders who lead, From the dreamers who try to the ones who believe. Every lesson passed along, every door that opens wide, every woman standing strong with it.
I can't take anymore. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? And
Goodness.
tell me about, what is that all about? Tell me about it.
Oh, so our first episode is next week. Her legacy. Oh my, this is going to be an exciting time for our women to come and support her legacy. Her legacy. Women, and I'm not saying the men. The men have to come and support us because women through time have been the one, right, to be there to support the world. And so her legacy, the new talk show, will be there to just carry on. We're living in a time when we're going to be building and redefining the legacy for the next generation on and on. And we're going to be leaving the footprints of our stories of now and to carry on and it is such a joy to listen to that song. The song tells it all of what we're going to be covering. And I'm not going to give it all away because we want you to come week after week to just listen to who we are as women. The Caribbean, and our background of what we'll be talking about, covering all the different topics. Dr. Donna and I, we're going to have this exciting time every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Okay, so come and support us, and I'm just looking forward to starting next week.
Yeah, and I want to add that not just support, but join the conversation.
Yeah.
And because this is a powerful conversational platform that has been created here. And it's all about highlighting the wisdom, strength, and influences of women whose voices influence generations. So we're here at the Collision with Purpose. We're creating a space for meaningful dialogue that explores the journeys, challenges, triumphs, and insights of women who are influencing the world through purpose-driven leadership. Just like the woman that is on the set with me tonight, Dr. Lorraine, who will be the co-host of this powerful Her Legacy. Doc, let's get back to our business tonight. That's Wednesday's business, next Wednesday's business. So let's get back to our business tonight. Your work has placed you alongside people navigating homelessness, justice systems, and mental health crisis. What have these experiences taught you about resilience that many people misunderstand?
Resilience is not something you build and then you walk away with. You just like, yeah, I'm done. It's continuous. You go back and you keep doing it and you keep doing it. And even for me as a mental health professional, I have to get up every day and re-examine my own self-awareness and look at what I did yesterday, if what I did yesterday is sufficient for tomorrow. Because what comes for tomorrow may creep up on me, and my building blocks that I build for my own emotional resilience can crash. Okay. And I think that's how some folks wake up and everything is just not their house of or their tower of emotional resilience, is no longer there because they haven't stopped to do their own self-awareness. During my college days of when I did my master's in mental health counseling, for every single course we did, I love my college course because the every single um s- um at every single end of our assignment, it caused us to did as a self-awareness. And so I still practice that. The end of my day is my self-awareness. So if you keep doing that, nothing will creep upon you and pull out. You know that Jenga game
Mhm.
where you put a block in and you take a block out, but you have to strategically take out the block in a slow way because then everything will fall. That's emotional resilience. If you take out the block too quickly or take out the wrong block, everything will fall.
Mhm. So we must be aware,
Mhm.
and for it's daily decision making that is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And daily supporting yourself. So I teach my folks, and I do it to myself too. Like, you know, just be gentle with yourself. And the Jamaican talk, you love upon yourself. You know, Emotional resilience. Because sometimes there's no one around you to just give you that embrace and let you know you're doing a good job. So you do it yourself. You just,
Yeah.
you're good, as you said. You're doing a good job.
And
Emotional
and
resilience.
how you talk to yourself is so important.
Good self-talk, positive self-talk. And don't let nobody tell you when you do a little self-talk, you're crazy. You're not. That's
Yeah,
what's gonna keep you in.
yeah, you're not. So, Doc, trauma does not always begin with individuals. Sometimes it is reinforced by the systems we live in
Mm.
or people live within. What systemic failures contribute most to generational trauma?
My goodness. If I'm trying to pick one,
Yeah, give me a few of them.
uh, the justice system,
Mm,
the education system.
mm,
Mm. It's quite a few because we live in some today um, that it really creates the trauma. Where some of it we're living presently in that we cannot get out from it. And that's why I say we just gotta keep being gentle to ourselves because some of us are being re-traumatized as we speak, right? Um, so we have and that's why I'm saying the self-awareness has to be turned up. It's like a flame. You have to turn it up for yourself because if not, you're re-traumatized. Um, Especially if you work in the systems, you are re-traumatized. There's things that I see some to even today that I had to take a step back and be like, I'm not sure if I understand this
mm,
because I can't understand what I'm seeing in front of my eyes because it's not real, right? So, and the justice system is one of them for me as a Black woman and
mm,
a mother, right? The education system
mm,
for young children, um, the medical system. It's traumatizing, especially if you are a Black woman who is of childbearing years, right? Um, so because we know the statistics for Black women, and especially if you're a Black woman who tends to be, especially in my family, who has medical issues. It's very traumatic. You don't know. I have three grandchildren who are premature,
mm.
were born premature. So in our family, are we going to make it through childbirth? you know those it's very traumatic. So I'm not sure even how to rank those systems
Mm.
that are traumatizing for us.
Yeah. As I'm listening to you and I'm just thinking about how loud the external noise is.
It's very loud. And remember, it keeps getting louder as we begin to become more knowledgeable about the systems, right?
Mhm.
It becomes louder.
And I think that a lot of us, we have lost our sense of curiosity. We're very accepting, and we still dwell and believe in those things that we inherited, were taught, those inherited knowledge and
You
all of
know,
that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dr. Laxley, as you said it, you remember when we were taught as children,
Mhm.
children should be seen and not to be heard. It's almost as if it's switched over to adults now.
Mhm.
Um, we are quietly thinking that we are to be seen and not to be heard.
Well, we promise we have built this platform, and that is why we have shows like this, life-changing conversations, inspire actions. And my guest is Dr. Lorraine J. Smith. And that's why we also have her legacy. And we also have bridging generation voices of men in a changing world. And we also have in the spotlight, and it's to have conversations like this because we are to be seen and to be heard.
Absolutely.
And we're not going to shut down and quiet up and be silent, right? And we're not silent people. That is not who we are, Doc. So if communities were serious about interrupting trauma cycles, where would we start?
Hmm. We would start right where we can make a difference,
Mhm.
having conversations at the tables where we are. If we're in the church, we start there.
Mm.
If we're right here, then we start there. Wherever we are, if we're at the domino table, we have conversations. If we're at the kitchen table, we have conversation. If we're at the dinner table, because then what happens is we're teaching our children, how to speak up. We're teaching our church members how to speak up. I was in church on Sunday and I said, because it was International Women's Day, and I said we need to encourage our young people to that it's okay to be in politics. You
Mhm.
know, I think, well, everyone knows where I stand. I'm an advocate. I was born an advocate. As a child, I would say I'm not teasing. I would be teased because I didn't want to tease the child with a disability. So I was told that I was called Little Miss to begin with. I was teased, and I was like, it's okay. You can tease me, but I'm not going to tease the person with a disability. So I said that we need to be teaching our young people that it is okay, because we do tell in the church, we're saying that, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But we need to be, as you said, starting where we are. If we're in church, we need to tell folks or encourage folks who want to be advocates that they can. At the dinner table, we should be teaching our children that you can advocate. If you feel that it's wrong to do that, you can say it is wrong to tease Johnny. If you can, and you teach your children how to advocate. My parents taught me how to advocate, and I'm an advocate today. So wherever you are, you can start there. If you're at the domino table and you hear someone speaking and said, "No, that's wrong," you start there.
So it's
That's
really
what I believe.
it's really about grow where you're planted.
Absolutely.
Grow where you're planted. And you know, having observed some of our leaders, it is not a lack of abilities why so many of our people are not at the decision table, are not sitting at the table where decisions are made. It is a lack of knowing and understanding that they can. And I think that's why it's so important that we reinforce that thought, that idea in their heads, that you belong there. You're better than those who are making decisions for you. So that's something we have to do in a habitual, in a way, in such a way that it becomes a pattern and it becomes our identity, in shaping who we are. So yeah, so someone like you, always supporting others, and hopefully not you, but many people who are supporting others are neglecting their own emotional health. Doc, let's talk about burnout. Burnout really happens overnight. It builds slowly beneath the surface. How can high performing professionals recognize burnout before it reaches the point of breakdown?
You can recognize it by stopping every single day to check yourself.
Mhm.
So I do, because I work with high profile successful individuals. And so the first thing we do in the first session, I'd be like, we're going to do this thing where you have to stop. And a lot of people think that because I do so many things, I don't stop. But I tell folks that I do stop. Okay. I do stop. Not because I keep moving and because I keep flying, that doesn't mean I stop. I do stop and I do self care every single day. Every single day, I do self care. You know. So how can a high profile person or a high successful every single day you stop at least half an hour to an hour, you stop. There's 24 hours in the day. One of them is yours. And I don't mean while you're sleeping. While you're sleeping, one of those hours are yours. So you can either do it in the morning or you do it at night. And one of those hours should be for God too, as well, if or your creator, however you want to put it. Because if you don't stop to give honor, where honor is due, honor where honor is due, give it.
Yes, indeed.
Plant your feet on the floor or on the soil or on the beach and just gratitude. Give it to yourself.
Intentional slowdown. Take rest intentionally. Don't just rest because you drop.
No.
Let it be intentional. Let it be decisive. This is my time.
You're going to drop, and not intentionally but forcefully.
Yes. So what daily emotional practices help leaders sustain resilience over time? And I know, share some tips. Give us some tips.
As what daily emotional, so um talk about gratitude, so
Mhm.
recognizing the things that are in your life and
Mm.
just being thankful for those, um and stopping to recognize others too as well, because you're not here by yourself. You couldn't have done it by yourself,
Mm.
especially if you have a team of people around you. So my team of people check in every day and they'll tell me, am I in the field? Am I in the office? And I say, thank you. Because I couldn't have done it. I have people who may drive me, people who may do my billing, people who may support me. I say thank you to them. And no matter where they are, some people, I don't see them for years, but they support me. I laid eyes on someone that I hired 3 years ago. First time I saw him, never saw him. Never did know what he looked like for 3 years, but I recognized him for being there for me. Okay, so emotionally, you want to connect with people. Connect. No man is an island. No man stand alone. Each man is your brother. Okay. And connect with yourself. Find out who you are. Because remember, you grow. You continue, not physically, physically sometime, but emotionally you continue to grow, you continue to develop into a new person. And I also do some physical work. I may not go to the gym every day, but I do some physical work. So I work on me emotionally, mentally, physically.
You know, let's move to early intervention and the next generation. Doc, the most powerful way to break trauma cycles is to intervene before those cycles are established. Why is social emotional learning in children one of the most powerful tools for trauma prevention?
Mm. So, as social emotional learning help children to can recognize. It's just self-awareness. And talk about self-awareness in adult. Self-awareness, emotional regulation. We try to teach children about their emotions. So tell me what you're feeling. You don't have to scream and throw yourself on the ground and throw the temper tantrums. I have a 2-year-old granddaughter, and it was the most favorite thing. She said, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. I'm sad, I'm sad, I'm sad. And then she get upset and she said, I'm upset, Grandma. I said, okay, all right. Why am I upset? So that social emotional learning is so important, because if not, then the stuff go flying, and they truly do. You will see. You ever been in a classroom with two and 3 year old,
Mhm.
and they don't know, someone didn't teach them to say how they feel? It's a lot of screaming.
Mm,
So it's the self-awareness and the ability to say how they feel, but also they don't have to feel it all at once, right? And they also, because they didn't get their favorite toy, it doesn't mean I have to be upset, because you're going to get it, right? So it's the ability, also human nature, right? We don't know how to be patient naturally. But with the social emotional learning, you know how to wait, because I'm able to say, you get it in 2 minutes. And we're able to count those 2 minutes. So it's the emotional regulation as well. And then you know what's appropriate and what is not.
mm,
All those teachings. So it gives you the ability to also have this child know all these other emotions as well, the good, the bad, and also the ugly. Prevents your child from being, all those other things, the trauma, as you said, it prevents the trauma from happening to the child. And the child is able to come home and said, you know what, mommy or daddy, this happened today
mm.
as well.
It's not a lack of wanting, because most parents want to support their children, but do not necessarily know how to recognize emotional distress, as you're saying. What signs? What signs should parents watch for that may indicate a child is carrying emotional pain?
So you can look for the detached or the super attached,
Mm,
or the, so if a child is too clingy,
mhm,
or this child doesn't want to attach, or the changes in the behaviors. So your child would normally, talk to you, but all of a sudden doesn't, the changes in the emotions are there. You know, all of that
mm,
will give you an indication. Okay. Um, your child is coloring, and the colors change. The colors go from yellow to red, or from um,
mm,
yellow to black. Colors speak. Yes, color psychology. The color tells a story, or the pictures or story. The pictures are telling you something. Something happened.
mm,
So, and it's sad today that we work so hard and we work more than one job, that we don't have the time to spend with
mm,
our children. because everything our child does will tell us happy, sad, bad. Something happened today that is out of the norm. Something happened on the playground. Something happened in the classroom. Someone new was in the classroom. Someone, got hurt in the classroom. When we do play therapy. Play therapy, I don't have to get a word to know that something is happening with the child or that the child is happy. You do all of that and you'll get tons of information from the child. So a child doesn't have to speak. We'll have children who have selective mutism. Selective mutism meaning that the child speaks when the child wants to speak. Child doesn't have to speak to me for me to know that something is happening, or that, as you said, there was a trauma. Trauma may have been years ago, but I can see it, so, but sometimes the parent may be so tired, or the parent may have their own situation. The economy now is so bad that everybody has to work. Mommy has to work, daddy has to work, auntie's in the home, grandma has to work, or there's so many people in the home is crowded. So there's the story is tainted in the home as well. Or there may be so many people in the home, you can't tell what is the story about, or who is it about.
Who is the story?
Right. Who is in the story?
Yeah. So, Doc, your work bridges communities across the United States and the Caribbean. Of course, you're a Caribbean woman, you're a Jamaican woman. You're a Jamaican leader, right? And diaspora leader. What responsibility does the diaspora have in strengthening mental health awareness and access back home?
Big responsibility. Huge. Can I say again, big and huge? Huge and big?
You can say big and huge. Big and large.
Big and large, as Jamaican would say. Big and large. And it is getting bigger by the moment.
Yeah, by the moment. And real change requires more than conversation. It requires participation. So, Doc, what are practical steps that professionals like yourself abroad can take to meaningfully contribute to mental health progress back in the Caribbean, in Jamaica?
Big and large and meaningful step. We must act now, because one of the things is that, so we know Hurricane Melissa came. We know what it did. Trauma has already started, right? Trauma is happening now as we speak, and we need to attend to it. So those of us who truly mean what we say and say what we mean should continue to be there as often as we can, like you and I and many others, right? And just continue to be there. Like, we come back here for a break, freshen up, and go back. It's like a roll in, roll out. So while we're here, someone else should be there. It should be like a tag team. We tap out, somebody tap in. And we should continue to even train others to be there as well. And then what should be created? What I've always said that should be created. We know that Bellevue is now kind of like more operating or being improved to be a crisis center, right? Something like that. But it's the only center there, while you have a wider range of more, there's more folks, in the Westmoreland area, which has a lot of mental health issues, and on the other side too as well. So what should be happening is plans to widen those areas consistently, because mental health has no time frame. When it hits, from my experience, mental health tends to hit on a cycle. So if you cycle in on Christmas, the holidays tends to, if you would cycle in on an Easter, it's going to cycle in on an Easter again. And if you're a Christmas cycle, it's going to cycle on a Christmas cycle again. And it normally hits, we normally get a cycle on the midnights. If you're working in a mental health psychiatric unit, on the nights is when it's filled. So we should really prepare for those things. A lot of us in the diaspora, we have tons of experiences on that, and so we should really be having those consistent conversation, pull our resources together, pull our resources in terms of not just the expertise, some of the equipment that we can get, because those equipment can help when it comes to the true crisis and be able to help even for some of what we've seen, like folks are losing their life when someone is in a crisis. We can decrease some of that.
We know the cycle. We know when it's
Mm-hmm.
likely to happen. So
It's a cycle. Yeah.
should be more responsive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Doc, let's move to what I call the quick fire engagement segment. So, I'd like to capture your instincts on a few quick reflections. All right. Silence or stigma? Which is more dangerous?
Silence.
Mhm. Stigma is a bit touchy too, but silence is more dangerous.
Silence is more dangerous. Stigma, we can keep handling stigma. Yeah.
Indeed. Therapy or community support? Which must come first?
It depends. If something is going on, you can use community support to stabilize while you kind of involve the therapy in the background.
And it's very likely that you will have a friend show up to console and steady you while calling the professional, right? Like call you in.
Yeah.
Trauma or resilience, which ultimately shapes a life more powerfully?
Resilience. Resilience is resilience stabilize the life, but trauma, well, everyone has some form of trauma.
Well, think about the question now. Trauma or resilience, which ultimately shapes a life more powerful? Because trauma can really shape a life too, in a negative way. Trauma can damage a person. I think so. It's a double-edged.
Which stabilize the life more powerful.
No, which ultimately shapes a life more powerfully.
Not well, which shape it more powerfully. Not from my point of view. Not trauma.
Right.
Because it wouldn't be trauma, because it depends. You have folks that are traumatized for life and never come back.
Very true, and that's why it shapes it more powerfully, because you never come back. Anyway, so
I get you.
Right? Trauma is dangerous. It can destroy a life. Resilience is where we want to go to, of course, but trauma is very dangerous. And these questions we're not supposed to think about too much anyway. So, it's a quick reflection. One word.
Maybe it's the time of the night. You have
no answer is wrong. Yeah. One word that defines the mental health challenge of this generation.
One word.
Mm-hmm.
One word that shapes the mental health challenge of this.
That defines the mental health challenge of this generation.
It may be
Okay, that is the word.
One word that defines it is Maybe I need to come back to that one.
All right, we will come back to that. We will come back to that. All right, so this is what I would like you to do for me.
One word that defines it is trauma. Because I think we keep coming back to trauma. It's trauma.
I think trauma is a good one. It's a good word.
Yeah, because we keep coming back to
trauma. It's everywhere. And you know, and it's certainly the thing, the word that is most threatening. Pose the most challenges, and it's it's that healing that we are, or lack of healing thereof, when we trauma that we carry into the next situation, into the next relationship. So trauma is a good one. It's definitely defining so much about the mental health challenge faced by this generation, and hopefully not the next. You know, so Doc, as we getting ready to draw down on our conversation tonight, I want you to go as close as you can get to the mirror or to the camera, and I want you to credit that one person in your life. Just, you only get to do one person, and say thank you to them for what they did for you.
Does the person have to be living?
One person, your call.
The one person is my mommy, Zephylyn Alberta. I look like her.
Tell her how you feel. Talk to her.
I sound like her. She gave me life.
You're talking to her, mommy. You gave me life. This direct conversation. You're looking at her wherever she is. Talk to her.
Mommy, I love you. You're in the arms of your Savior, but my love for you still continues. You would rub my toes, my head, and you tell me the colors of my eyes, and you would let me know how much you love me. And that I can be anything that I want to be. You would let me know how smart I am, and that, oh my goodness. And that's as much as I would think that my forehead is the biggest forehead in the world, that I am the prettiest girl in the world. Before you passed, you took my hands in your hands and you blessed me. And you let me know that no matter what, I will always have your love, and that I will be blessed forever. And that's, today I believe that who I am is because of that blessing that you placed on my life. I just want to tell you, Mommy, I love you forever.
Wow. Powerful. Powerful. Almost have me tearing up over here. Powerful stuff. I know Mommy is hearing you, listening to you, and she appreciated so much. And Mommy, we appreciate you for all that you did. But this person, Dr. Loraine, through you and your teaching and your love, she's who she is today, doing great work. All right, Doc, so I want to close with a question that may reach someone who's watching today. Let's say someone is out there watching and they need help but feel somewhat ashamed to ask for it. What is one solid, concrete step they can take within the next 24 hours?
So if you're out there and you feel that you need help, asking for help, there is no shame in asking for help. I think it's the bravest thing to recognize that you need help. And there's always help available. You can reach out to me, and I'm going to let my number be available. And you don't even have to say who you are. You can even text, and I'll be able to support you by texting right back. My number is area code 772-0039. You can also reach out to the suicide hotline by, I'm going to try to find it by memory, by texting I think it's 955. You can text to ask for help. Okay? There is no shame in asking for help. It's the bravest thing to ask for help. And this is in the US, by the way, that you can text and ask for help. And if that is not the number by memory, because I'm so teary-eyed and emotional, just start talking about mommy, we will put it in the chat.
We will.
We'll put it in the chat. And just want to thank you for having me, Dr. Laxley. And
Doc,
yours, thank you for watching tonight.
Before we go, final thoughts. Let's put it out there. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Life can be hard, especially today in the world that we live. But one thing I can tell you, life is worth living. Talk so much about trauma tonight, but it doesn't mean that you cannot overcome. I'm a living witness to that. You hear me talk about my mommy and her rubbing my toes and my head and everything. That's when I had life the hardest. But I overcame everything because of her love. She would sit with me and told me that I can make it. She encouraged me. She encouraged me to push through to make it. Okay? So you can too as well. Trauma happens to all of us in different ways. I became a mental health therapist because I believe in healing, right? And there's someone out there wherever you are that can help you, whether you're in the US, you're in Jamaica, you're somewhere in the Caribbean, or somewhere out there in this world. There's someone like myself, a mental health therapist, a neighbor, a pastor, someone who can help you, or just a friend. But you have to speak up to get the help you need. I do believe in prayer, that praying can help, but after you pray, you're going to have to get up and get the help you need. Because life does, it can cast us some lemons. It can. But it can also change into beautiful lemonades. Okay? I believe that.
What a way to end your talk. Well, Dr. Lorraine, let me say thank you for sharing your wisdom and your compassion and your commitment to healing individuals and strengthening communities. Today's conversation reminds us of something powerful. Healing is not weakness. Seeking help is not failure. And silence should never be stronger than hope. You know, trauma may shape our stories, but it does not have to determine our future. And to everyone who's watching today or who will watch this replay, your pain deserves attention. Your healing deserves priority. And your future deserves wholeness. The first step toward transformation is often the hardest, but I dare say it is also the most important. I want to thank you for joining us on Life-Changing Conversations to Inspire Actions. My guest today is none other than the future host of her legacy, Dr. Loraine J. Smith. And we'll see you next week on Life-Changing Conversations on Wednesday at 1 p.m. But before I go, I want to play this video, and we're going to go out listening to this video again because it's such a powerful video.
A collision with purpose movement. Dr. Donna Thompson and Dr. Lorraine J. Smith. Every generation is shaped by voices that rise when others are silent. Voices of courage, voices of wisdom, voices that remind the world that leadership has many faces. This is her legacy. There's a story in every heart, a fire in every dream. Women rising through the dark, stronger than they seem. Through every challenge they stand tall, through every storm they rise, turning doubt into resolve with vision in their eyes. Every word becomes a light.
We've all had moments that break us down, searching for light when the world spins round.